What if I told you there's a way to reprogram your mind while you sleep? That the hours you spend unconscious could be the most powerful tool you have to change your life, and that most people are doing it wrong? Every night, before you fall asleep, you have a choice. You can let your mind wander into chaos, replaying worries, regrets, and random thoughts, or you can use that time to shape your reality. Ancient wisdom and modern science agree. The moments before sleep are when your subconscious is most open, most receptive. Tonight, you'll learn exactly how to use them. The sleeping mind, your secret manifestation tool. There's something happening inside your head right now that you're not even aware of. While you're reading these words, while you're going about your day, even while you're sleeping, your mind is working. Not just working, but creating, building, shaping your reality in ways you probably never realized. Most people think sleep is just downtime, just emptiness, just nothingness, but they're wrong, dead wrong. When you close your eyes at night, your brain doesn't shut off like a computer going into standby mode. It shifts gears. It starts doing its most important work. Think about what happens when you sleep. You dream, right? Those dreams aren't just random movies playing in your head. They're your mind sorting through everything that happened to you, everything you felt, everything you thought about during the day. It's like a team of workers inside your head, organizing the mess of your waking hours into something that makes sense. But here's what nobody tells you. This process isn't just about organizing. It's about programming. The thoughts you have right before sleep, they don't just disappear when you drift off. They sink in. They take root. They become part of the blueprint your mind uses to build your tomorrow. Imagine your mind is like a garden. Every thought is a seed. During the day, you're tossing seeds around without much care. Some good, some bad, most of them random. But at night, that's when those seeds get planted deep. That's when they start growing. If your last thoughts before sleep are worries, that's what grows overnight. If they're doubts, those take root. But if they're focused, clear intentions, that's when magic happens. This isn't some mystical idea. Science backs it up. Studies on memory consolidation show that what you focus on before sleep gets strengthened in your brain. Research on athletes proves that visualization before bed improves actual performance. Your brain doesn't know the difference between real practice and imagined practice. It strengthens the same neural pathways either way. So, here's the simple truth. You're already programming yourself every night. The only question is, are you doing it by accident or on purpose? Most people let their last thoughts be whatever random nonsense their phone feeds them, whatever stress their day left them with. Then they wonder why they wake up feeling the same, why nothing changes. But now you know better. Now you understand that those last moments before sleep aren't just empty time to fill. They're your secret weapon, your hidden advantage. The universe gives everyone this tool, but almost no one uses it right. Tonight, instead of drifting off to the glow of your screen or the whirl of your worries, try something different. Take just 5 minutes, clear your mind, then plant one clear thought, one simple intention. Not 10 things, not a complicated wish list, just one clear seed. Water it with your attention, then let sleep do the rest. You'll be amazed at what grows. The nightly reset, why most people waste it. Look around at how people end their days, scrolling, worrying, binge watching, numbing out. Then they collapse into bed, exhausted but wired, and wonder why they wake up feeling just as tired as when they went to sleep. Here's the hard truth. Most people treat their nights like garbage disposals for their minds, just shoving in whatever's left over from the day without a second thought. But think about this. When you shut down a computer improperly, what happens? Errors pile up, performance slows, things stop working right. Your mind isn't so different. If you just crash at night without any kind of shutdown sequence, you're basically forcing your brain to try making sense of chaos. And guess what? Chaos is what you'll get. Those last minutes before sleep. They're not just empty time, they're your reset button. Your daily chance to clear the cache, to defrag your mental hard drive, to prepare the soil for whatever you want to grow tomorrow. But here's what happens instead. People fill that precious time with news alerts, social media drama, work emails, or worst of all, replaying every mistake and worry from their day. It's like trying to plant a beautiful garden in a field full of weeds. You can put all the good seeds in you want, but if you don't clear the junk first, nothing good can grow. Your mind works the same way. Those last thoughts before sleep, they set the tone for everything that follows. Think about how you feel after a bad night's sleep, where you went to bed angry or anxious. The whole next day feels off, right? Now think about those rare nights when you went to sleep feeling peaceful, content. The next morning probably felt lighter, easier. That's not coincidence. That's your mind doing exactly what you programmed it to do. Here's the simple but powerful shift. Start treating those last 10-15 minutes before sleep like sacred time. Not in some mystical way, but in a practical, this actually works way. It's not about adding more to your day. It's about making those last moments count. First, create a buffer zone. No screens for at least 30 minutes before bed. Not because some health guru said so, but because you've probably noticed how staring at your phone right before sleep leaves your mind buzzing. That light, that stimulation. It's like revving a car engine right before turning it off. Next, do a mental sweep, not some complicated meditation. Just take 2 minutes to notice what's in your head. Stresses from the day. Write them down. Random thoughts. Acknowledge them, then let them go. It's not about emptying your mind completely. That's impossible. It's about not letting the mental clutter run the show. Finally, plant one good seed. Just one. Not a to-do list for tomorrow. Not a replay of today's problems. One simple, positive intention. Could be as basic as tomorrow will be productive, or I'll find moments of peace. The simpler the better. Most people waste this time because no one ever taught them how valuable it is. But now you know. Tonight, don't just fall asleep. Reset. The 3-step pre-sleep ritual. There's a way to end your day that doesn't leave you tossing and turning, replaying conversations, or waking up with your mind already racing. It doesn't take hours, it doesn't require any special skills, and it's not some complicated spiritual practice. It's just 3 simple steps. So simple that most people overlook them, assuming they're too basic to matter. But that's the thing about real power. It's often hidden in the simplest actions. Let's break it down. Step 1. Release. This isn't journaling. This isn't some deep, reflective exercise. This is mental housekeeping. Before you sleep, your mind is like a cluttered desk. Papers everywhere, sticky notes with half-finished thoughts, things you meant to do but forgot. If you try to work at that desk, you'll waste time sorting through the mess instead of getting anything done. Sleep is the same. If you go to bed with a head full of unfinished business, your brain will spend the night rummaging through it, instead of doing the real work of rebuilding, restoring and preparing you for what's next. So take 5 minutes, grab a piece of paper, not your phone, not a fancy journal, just something you can write on, then dump everything. What's bothering you? What's left undone? What conversation is still looping in your head? Get it out, not in paragraphs, not neatly, just bullet point. The act of writing it down signals to your brain, you don't have to hold this anymore. It's handled, and just like that, the mental chatter quiets. Step 2. Refocus. Now that you've cleared the clutter, you have space to plant something useful. Most people set goals. I need to finish that project tomorrow, or I have to remember to call the bank. But goals are just tasks. They don't shape how you experience your day. What you really want to program into your mind isn't just what you'll do, but how you'll feel while doing it. So ask yourself, how do I want to feel tomorrow? Not in some vague, spiritual way, but concretely, Do you want to feel calm in meetings instead of rushed? Do you want to feel patient with your kids instead of irritated? Do you want to feel focused instead of scattered? Pick one feeling, just one, then close your eyes and imagine what it would be like to move through your day already feeling that way. Don't force it. Don't stress over it. Just let the idea sit in your mind like a seed in soil. Step 3. Request. This is where most people mess up. They either beg, please let this happen, or they doubt, I want this, but I don't know if it's possible. Both come from a place of lack, and that's the energy they carry into sleep. Instead, think of this like placing an order. When you're at a restaurant, you don't whisper to the waiter, if it's not too much trouble, could I maybe have a burger, but only if it's convenient. No, you say, I'll have the burger, simple, clear, no hesitation. That's how you speak to your subconscious, to the universe, if that's how you see it. Not with wishful thinking, but with the calm certainty of someone who knows the order has already been placed. Thank you for a day of focus. Thank you for the energy to get everything done, then let it go. No overthinking, no checking to see if it worked. Just trust that the request has been received. Why does this matter? Because your mind takes its cues from you. If you're desperate, it assumes there's something to be desperate about. If you're calm, it assumes all is well. And when you sleep, that assumption becomes your reality. The right way to ask. Most people get this wrong. Most people spend their lives whispering wishes into the universe, like they're asking for a favor from a stranger who might say no. They tiptoe around their own desires, wrapping them in layers of maybe, and if it's not too much trouble, and I know I don't deserve this, but as if the cosmos operates on polite hesitation. Here's the truth. No one tells you. The universe responds to clarity, not desperation. It answers certainty, not bargaining. And most importantly, it mirrors back to you exactly what you believe you're worthy of receiving. Think about how you order coffee. You don't stand at the counter, wringing your hands saying, oh, I'd really love a latte, if that's okay. I mean, only if you have time. I know you're busy. You say, large latte please. There's power in that simplicity. There's an unshakable assumption that your request will be fulfilled because that's how the transaction works. Now imagine applying that same energy to everything you want in life, not as a hopeful maybe, but as a calm expectation. That's the shift that changes everything. The problem isn't that people don't ask, it's that they ask like they're already braced for rejection. Their requests are actually just doubts, dressed up in pretty words. I hope I find love carries the silent footnote of but I'll probably die alone. I want to be successful, whispers underneath, though I don't think I have what it takes. Your subconscious hears everything. The universe hears everything, and they both respond to the quietest voice, the one that actually believes what it's saying. This is why children often manifest better than adults. When a kid wants ice cream, they don't say, Mother, if it wouldn't be too much of an inconvenience, and assuming the financial circumstances allow, might I perhaps enjoy a small dessert? They scream, ice cream, with the absolute certainty of someone who knows their words have power. They don't worry about how it will arrive. They don't stress about whether they deserve it. They just know what they want and declare it. Somewhere along the way, we unlearn this. We start treating our desires like something to apologize for, rather than something to claim. The fix isn't complicated, but it requires rewiring years of hesitation. First, stop decorating your desires with disclaimers. I want this job, but I know there are better candidates. Isn't a request. It's self-sabotage with a bow on top. Second, speak as if it's already done. Not I wish I could travel more, but I'm so grateful for all the adventures I'm having. Your brain doesn't argue with present tense statements the way it dismisses future fantasies. Third, and this is where everyone stumbles, stop checking. Nothing kills manifestation faster than obsessive scorekeeping. You wouldn't plant a seed and dig it up every hour to check for roots. Don't do that with your desires either. There's an ancient principle that says, energy flows where attention goes, but with a crucial caveat. The attention must be relaxed to receive, not strained to control. This is why beggars stay hungry while chefs always eat. One approaches food with desperate need, the other with calm creation. Your job isn't to beg the universe. Your job is to state your order clearly, then step aside and let the kitchen work. The more you try to peek behind the curtain, the longer you delay your meal. Watch how nature works. An apple tree doesn't stress about producing fruit. It doesn't beg the sun for more light or the soil for more nutrients. It simply stands there drawing in what it needs, certain of its purpose. Your desires are no different. They're meant to come to you as naturally as apples grow on branch. The only thing blocking them is your insistence on shaking the tree to make them fall faster. Tonight, try this. Instead of falling asleep with a grocery list of wishes, plant one clear intention. Not "I hope tomorrow is better," but "tomorrow brings exactly what I need." Feel the difference in those words. One is a question, the other is an answer. The universe always responds to answer. The science of sleep manifestation. There's a quiet revolution happening in neuroscience labs around the world. One that confirms what ancient wisdom has always known. Your sleeping hours are when the real magic happens. While your body rests, your brain enters a state of hyperactivity, performing feats of mental alchemy that science is only beginning to understand. This isn't mystical thinking, it's hardwired biology. Every night, as you surrender to sleep, your mind begins an intricate process of sorting, filing, and most importantly, reinforcing the thoughts you dwell on during the day, the images you focus on, the emotions you consistently feel. These aren't just passing experiences. They're the raw materials your brain uses to reconstruct your reality. Consider what happens to athletes who practice visualization before bed. Multiple studies show that when basketball players mentally rehearse free throws in the evening, their actual performance improves as much as if they'd physically practiced. Their brains don't distinguish between imagined success and real experience. The neural pathways strengthen either way. This phenomenon extends far beyond sports. The same principle applies to public speakers who visualize confident performances, students who mentally rehearse exams, or anyone preparing for an important conversation. Your sleeping mind takes these mental blueprints and works on them with astonishing precision, smoothing out rough edges and making the imagined feel increasingly real. The mechanism behind this is what neuroscientists call memory consolidation. During deep sleep, your brain replays the day's important experiences at nearly 20 times the speed of waking life. But here's the crucial part. It doesn't just replay what happened, it strengthens the connections between neurons that represent your most repeated thoughts and feelings. Think of it like a path through a forest. The more you walk a particular route, the clearer and more established it becomes. Sleep is when your mind widens those paths, making certain thought patterns automatic, turning repeated mental images into expected realities. This explains why people who obsess over worries before bed often wake up feeling even more anxious. Their brains have spent the night reinforcing those fear pathways. Conversely, those who focus on solutions, on positive outcomes, on clear intentions, often wake with sudden insights or renewed motivation. Their minds have been working on those patterns all night. The implications are staggering. You're quite literally programming your brain every evening, whether you mean to or not. Most people let this process happen by default, allowing random thoughts and external stimuli to dictate their mental reprogramming. But now that you know better, you can take conscious control. The practical application is simple but profound. Those last mental images before sleep, they're not just idle thoughts, they're direct instructions to your subconscious construction crew. The emotions you linger in as you drift off, they're the energetic blueprint your mind will use to assemble your tomorrow. This isn't about positive thinking or wishful fantasy. It's about understanding that your brain is always building, always creating, and giving it the right materials to work with. When you grasp this, those quiet moments before sleep transform from wasted time into your most powerful manifestation tool. The forbidden mistake. What kills your results? Imagine preparing a gourmet meal with the finest ingredients, carefully following each step of an elaborate recipe, only to dump a bucket of garbage into it just before serving. That's essentially what most people do with their pre-sleep mind every single night. After spending their evening winding down, perhaps even practicing some manifestation techniques, they commit the one error that undoes all their good work. They reach for their phone. That innocent-looking device might as well be a manifestation wrecking ball, swinging through your carefully prepared mental state with all the subtlety of a bull in a china shop. The damage happens on multiple levels. First, there's the obvious culprit. Blue light. That cool glow from your screen doesn't just make it harder to fall asleep. It tricks your brain into thinking it's still daytime, suppressing melatonin production and disrupting your entire sleep chemistry. But the real sabotage runs much deeper. Every notification, every scroll, every piece of content you consume in those final waking moments becomes the last input your brain receives before its nightly reprogramming session. You might as well be handing your subconscious a jumbled mix of advertisements, random memes, and stress-inducing news headlines with the instructions, "Here, use this to build my tomorrow." Then there's the dopamine factor. Social media platforms and news sites are expertly designed to trigger quick hits of this pleasure chemical, creating mini cycles of craving and reward that leave your nervous system buzzing. When you subject your brain to this stimulation right before sleep, you're essentially revving a car engine to redline right before turning it off. The mental equivalent of engine knocking continues long after you've put the phone down. Your mind stays in a state of low-grade arousal, making deep restorative sleep nearly impossible. And without that quality sleep, all your manifestation efforts might as well be seeds planted in concrete. But perhaps the most insidious effect is what this habit does to your focus. Manifestation requires clarity, a single-pointed concentration on your desired outcome. Scrolling before bed is the exact opposite. It's mental fragmentation, a rapid-fire shifting of attention from one unrelated stimulus to another. It's like trying to meditate in the middle of a fireworks display. Your mind becomes conditioned to constant distraction, making it increasingly difficult to sustain the focused thought necessary for effective manifestation. The neural pathways responsible for concentration weaken from disuse, while those governing distraction grow stronger. The solution isn't complicated, but it does require discipline. Establish a digital sunset, a fixed time each evening when screens go off for good. For most people, 30 minutes before bed is the absolute minimum. An hour is better. This creates a buffer zone, a transitional period where your mind can shift gears from the chaotic energy of the digital world to the calm, receptive state ideal for manifestation. Use this time for the practices that actually serve you: journaling, light stretching, meditation, or simply sitting quietly with your intentions. The difference in your mental clarity, sleep quality, and manifestation results will astonish you. Remember this: your pre-sleep mind is sacred space. What you allow into that space determines what grows in the garden of your life. Treat it with the respect it deserves, and watch how effortlessly your desires begin to blossom. The dream anchor technique. There exists a twilight moment between waking and sleeping, where reality becomes fluid, where the boundaries between thought and experience soften into something extraordinary. This hypnagogic state is the most fertile ground for planting seeds of transformation, yet most people let it slip through their fingers night after night, unaware of its power. The dream anchor technique harnesses this fleeting window with surgical precision, using the language your subconscious understands best. Simple, vivid imagery that bypasses the critical mind and embeds itself directly in your creative center. Picture this: you're lying in bed, eyelids growing heavy, the world around you fading into darkness. In this moment of surrender, most people's minds become like untethered boats, drifting wherever random thoughts take them. But you're about to drop an anchor, not the heavy, burdensome kind that drags you down, but a guiding marker that aligns your subconscious compass toward your desired destination. This anchor can be anything: a single word whispered internally, confidence, abundance, peace; a brief mental image, yourself smiling effortlessly during a challenging situation; or even a remembered physical sensation, the warmth of sunlight on your skin. The simpler, the better. Complexity is the enemy of effectiveness here. The magic happens because of how your brain processes information during sleep onset. As you drift off, your analytical faculties power down while your subconscious becomes hyper-receptive. The images or phrases you hold at this time sink deep, bypassing the usual filters of doubt and logic. They become the thematic material your mind works with throughout the night's cycles of dreaming and memory consolidation. It's like giving an artist a specific palette of colors to work with, rather than random splatters of paint. The resulting creation will be far more intentional and coherent. Consider the example of confidence. Rather than vaguely wishing to be more self-assured, you might picture yourself in an upcoming situation where you typically feel nervous, perhaps speaking up in a meeting or attending a social event. But here's the crucial detail: you don't just visualize the scenario, you embody the feeling of confidence in that moment. The relaxed shoulders, the easy breathing pattern, the quiet certainty in your gut. You hold this composite image lightly as you cross the threshold into sleep, not obsessively, but like a traveler casually glancing at a map before beginning a journey. The subconscious does the rest, weaving this seed into your neural tapestry night after night, until it becomes your new default setting. The key to success with this technique lies in its paradoxical nature. It requires focused intention, paired with complete surrender. You must select your anchor with clarity, yet release all attachment to immediate results. Think of it like mailing a letter. You write the address carefully, then drop it in the box, trusting it will arrive. You don't stand by the mailbox demanding to know why it hasn't been delivered yet. This delicate balance between purposeful action and patient trust is what separates effective manifestation from frustrating strive. Each night's practice builds upon the last, creating cumulative shifts that often reveal themselves subtly at first. A spontaneous feeling of ease where there was once tension, an automatic response that aligns with your desired state before you've even consciously remembered to implement it. Why morning matters just as much. The first moments of wakefulness are sacred ground for shaping your day, yet most people violate this fragile threshold with the brutality of alarm clocks and the immediate grab for smartphone. In doing so, they miss one of manifestation's most potent windows, those hazy golden minutes when the subconscious mind lingers close to the surface before the analytical faculties fully boot up. This is the counterpart to your evening practice, the yang to its yin, and neglecting it is like carefully planting seeds at night, only to stomp on the tender sprouts each morning. There's a neurological reason why your morning mindset matters profound. Upon waking, your brain naturally produces theta waves, the same brainwave state associated with deep meditation and heightened suggestibility. This window typically lasts only 5 to 10 minutes before beta waves, associated with active analytical thinking, take over. During this brief but precious period, your mind is exceptionally receptive to programming, much like a computer in BIOS mode, before the operating system loads. What you feed your consciousness at this time gets written deep into your day's subconscious script. The practice is elegantly simple. but requires resisting the modern urge to immediately flood your senses with external input. Before checking your phone, before reviewing your to-do list, even before fully opening your eyes, take 3 slow, deep breaths in this space. Reconnect with your intention from the previous night, not with desperate repetition like a magical incantation, but with the quiet assurance of someone confirming an already placed order. Still here, still ready. That's all it takes. This isn't about convincing the universe of anything. It's about aligning yourself with the receiving state, like adjusting your radio dial to the right frequency to catch the broadcast that's already playing. Morning reinforcement works because of how memory reconsolidation functions. During sleep, your brain hasn't just been passively processing information, it's been actively reconstructing your neural pathways based on your predominant thoughts and feelings. When you wake up and immediately reaffirm your intention, you're essentially putting the final seal on that night's work, telling your brain, yes, this is the program I want running today. Skip this step, and you allow whatever random first thought or external stimulus that comes along to hijack your mental trajectory. The difference this practice makes becomes evident in how your days unfold. Those who take just these few conscious moments often report a strange synchronicity in their experiences, chance encounters that further their goals, ideas that seem to arrive fully formed, obstacles that shrink to manageable size. This isn't mystical favoritism, it's the natural consequence of starting each day intentionally aligned rather than reactively scattered. Your reticular activating system, the brain's filtering mechanism, gets clear instructions about what to notice, and your energy isn't wasted battling resistance created by conflicting subconscious programs. Perhaps most beautifully, this morning practice gradually rewires your default state of being. Over time, you'll notice you're no longer forcing yourself into positive states, but rather accessing them naturally. Like someone who's internalized a skill so thoroughly it becomes second nature. The space between I'm trying to feel confident and I am confident collapses because your subconscious has been reprogrammed at the deepest levels during these twice daily touch points, once as you release into sleep, once as you return to waking. This is how lasting transformation occurs, not through sporadic effort, but through consistent, gentle realignment at the most opportune moments. Nature provides the 7-day challenge. Try this tonight. Try this tonight. Transformation doesn't ask for your entire life. Just 7 days, 1 week to test what happens when you stop treating sleep as an afterthought and start treating it as the most important meeting of your day. This isn't about adding more to your already full plate. It's about rearranging what's already there with intention. The structure is simple, almost deceptively so, which is why most people will read this and think, I'll try it someday, while continuing to wonder why nothing changes. But you're different. You understand that real change comes not from grand gestures, but from consistent, daily micro-adjustments that compound over time. Here's how it works. Each evening becomes a gentle cascade into restfulness, rather than the usual crash into exhaustion. At 9 p.m., the screens go dark, not just physically but mentally. This isn't just about blue light, it's about the mental chatter that technology injects into your psyche. That email can wait. That social media scroll isn't serving you. The news cycle will continue without your vigilance. For the next hour, you're in a different kind of meeting, one with yourself. At 9:30, you take stock, not of what's missing, but of what's already present. 3 things you're grateful for, not performative, not grandiose, just real. The way sunlight hit your coffee cup this morning, the text from a friend you've been meaning to reply to, the fact that you have a bed to sleep in. Gratitude isn't spiritual fluff, it's neurological priming, shifting your brain from scarcity to abundance, so that when you state your desire at 9:45, it comes from a place of already full rather than empty begging. And here's where most manifestation practices go wrong. They turn desire into a chant, a desperate repetition, as if volume or frequency could compensate for doubt. Not here. You'll state your desire just once, clear, concise. Then you'll release it completely, because true trust doesn't need to keep checking if the universe heard you. By 10 p.m., you're asleep, not just physically but mentally surrendered, allowing your subconscious to do the precise engineering work required to align your outer world with your inner declaration. What makes this challenge revolutionary isn't any single element but the synergy of the sequence. The screen ban creates mental space. The gratitude practice shifts your energetic frequency. The single declaration carries power precisely because it isn't diluted by repetition. And the consistent sleep time regulates your body's natural rhythms, making all of it stick. For 7 days, you're not just hoping for change. You're architecting the conditions for it at the most fundamental level. The results often show up, not as lightning bolts from the sky, but as subtle shifts in perception. Situations that would have bothered you before now roll off your back. Opportunities you would have missed suddenly appear in your path. Internal resistance that once felt immovable begins to soften. None of this is magic. It's simply what happens when you finally cooperate with your mind's natural design instead of working against it. When nothing happens, the truth no one tells you. Let's speak plainly about what most manifestation teachers won't. Sometimes, despite doing everything right, the expected result doesn't materialize on your timeline. This moment separates the dabblers from the truly committed. Because here's the secret they don't tell you. When nothing appears to be happening, everything is happening beneath the surface. The universe speaks in 3 responses. Yes, not yet, and I have something better. But we only recognize the first one as valid. We've been conditioned to expect microwave results in a crockpot process, forgetting that even seeds that sprout overnight still took weeks of root growth before breaking surface. Consider the mechanics of what's actually occurring when you practice these principles. You're not ordering from a cosmic vending machine, where input A guarantees output B. You're participating in a complex dance of energy, timing, and personal readiness. When results seem delayed, it's often because some component of the equation isn't aligned. Perhaps your request conflicts with a deeper belief you haven't uncovered yet, or the outcome you think you want would actually derail a more important life lesson, or the foundation needed to sustain your desire isn't fully built. This isn't punishment or lack, it's protection and preparation. The mature practitioner understands that periods of apparent stillness are actually incubation phases. Just as you can't rush a butterfly's metamorphosis by peeling open the chrysalis, you can't force the universe's timing without damaging the very outcome you seek. This is where most people abandon ship, not realizing they were inches from breakthrough. They mistake the universe's not yet for no, taking their foot off the accelerator just before cresting the hill. The key is to interpret silence, not as rejection, but as recalibration, an invitation to examine whether your request needs refining, your belief needs strengthening, or your perception needs expanding. Here's how to navigate these plateaus. First, audit your request. Is it crystal clear or vaguely hopeful? The universe responds to specificity. Second, examine your belief. Do you feel deserving of this outcome deep in your bones? Or is there hidden self-sabotage at play? Third, expand your vision. Might there be a better version of this desire that you haven't considered? Finally, and most crucially, keep showing up. Continue the practices, not as a means to an end, but as an embodiment of the person who already has what they seek. This shift from desperate pursuit to calm knowing often becomes the very key that unlocks the door. The truth is, when you look back on your life's most meaningful developments, they rarely came when or how you expected. The job you didn't get made space for the opportunity you couldn't have imagined. The relationship that ended cleared the path for one that actually fit. Even apparent failures revealed themselves as necessary steps in hindsight. This is the deeper wisdom behind persistence, not blind faith, but knowing that what's meant for you cannot miss you, even if it arrives by a different route than you planned. So when nothing seems to be happening, relax, breathe, and keep going. The universe always has perfect timing, even when it disagrees with your watch. Your mind is always creating. Why leave it to chance? Tonight, take control, plant the right seeds before sleep, and wake up to a garden you actually want.